talk for a moment. So, there's something of a misunderstanding in the SCA right now. I'm not saying it's universal, and I'm not saying that it's ultra widespread, but I've talked to a lot of really, really long-term players who weren't aware of this. So, let's set the record straight. We all know that there are certain types of students who their titles are culturally and traditionally reserved in the SCA. A squire is a student to a knight. It's a given. Provost is, of course, the new name for the student to the newest peerage, the Master of Defense. A apprentice is student to a laurel. Don't try and flirt with that, even though apprenticeships pre and post date any actual historical peerages. In the SCA, it's just a thing. If you are a apprentice, everyone's going to assume you're a student to a laurel. And protégéship, even today, protégé in the mundane world has a lot of uses and a lot of connotations. In the SCA, if you say protégé, people are going to think you're student to a pelican. So those are a given. We don't want to mess with those terms. But does that mean that only a peer can take a student? No, it doesn't. And this is what I want a lot of my grant level friends to know, but also a lot of my newer members to know. If you want to learn something from someone, anyone can teach anything that they feel comfortable teaching. Doesn't matter your rank there. And anyone can ask someone to learn on a case-by-case basis. But it is possible to develop a mentor, nurture, leader relationship with another member. We just have to use different words for it, is really all it is. How do I know this? Because I was one. Before I was a protege, before I took a yellow belt, I was a man-at-arms. I was a fighting student to a non-peer fighter. That was His Lordship Alaric von Thorn, who I'm still really good friends with. He is now a Baron Alaric, a really good friend of mine who moved out of Kingdom for mundane reasons and is now in the Pacific Northwest, and he and his wife are landed Baron and Baroness out there. I still talk with him a couple times a week. We're still good friends, and he's even to this day has been counsel to me on some really tough situations in my life. But for the first 4 or 5, I think it was 4 years in the SCA, I wore a signet ring. Actually, I think I wore it on my pinky because my hand's so much bigger than his. It was his signet, and that ring denoted that I was under his protection. I was part of his household. He mentored me. He taught me. He corrected me. Ooh, I was a mess back then. I was not who I am today. Let's not get too deep into that subject. But he was a mentor and friend and teacher, and we ended the formal part of that relationship when he felt like he taught me everything he could, and I had come as far as I could under his studentship, and I should branch off and go seek my fortunes on my own merits at that point. It was equitable. We had a very brief ceremony, and like I said, we're still good friends, so it didn't really end any relationship. It just changed the shape of it. But he's not a peer. He was never a peer at the time, but I was still his man-at-arms. I was still his student. I was still recognized as part of his household. If you are a grant level fighter or a grant level artisan or a grant level worker, you can take a formal student. You absolutely can. And there can be a ceremony to it. You don't use the words reserved by tradition for the peerages, but you absolutely can say to a public audience, I am taking this person as my student. You can call it man-at-arms, you can call it student, you can call yourself a mentor. you can do some historical research, find out what terms that might have existed at the time. One of the things I learned is that in Italy at one point, a rapier master, one of the titles was for instructor was insignante. And that's actually the name of a championship now up in Moonshadow. But you could look up terms in German or Norse, any of the Celtic cultures, Russia, any of the northern Mediterranean cultures, any of the southern Mediterranean cultures. You can go worldwide. What did they call their teachers? What did they call their mentors? But my point here is that if you are the type of person who would benefit from a formal relationship, a formalized teacher on a long-term basis, someone who is going to take you and include you on their journey in the SCA for the next month, the next year, the next 5 years, or whatever, if that is a type of relationship that you want to explore, you do not need to find a peer to have that. That is not a prerequisite. A non-peer is absolutely capable of taking a student, whatever you want to call it, and developing that relationship. And it can absolutely be beneficial to you. And if you are a grant level worker or a grant level fighter or a grant level artisan, and you are cultivating, you have these type of relationships, and you want to formalize it, you want to tell an audience, this person is my student. When they do good, you tell them. If they do, and me. And if they do bad, tell me. For I will instruct them, and I will help them learn. That is the hallmark of any mentor-mentee relationship in the SCA, is that praise and correction. You absolutely do not need to be a peer to formalize that relationship. That is something that I've heard said a few times. It's absolutely incorrect. It's absolutely incorrect. There are terms you don't want to use, and that's fair. You don't want to presumptively let people think you're a peer when you're not. But you don't have to wait until you're a peer. And you don't have to start going down the road to peerage to take or to give out mentorship in the SCA. That's absolutely something that you can do at any rank, really. It's just like the peerages. It is a relationship. And you can absolutely formalize that relationship for your purposes within the SCA. Make a ceremony out of it. Make a tradition out of it. Make something unique to what you and your student or you and your master are. And have fun with it, because really that's part of why we're here. So a little bit more technical, a little bit more nuanced this week, but I wanted to share that. I wanted to put that out there because a lot of people don't think about it. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. I'll see you at the next event. Goodbye. God bless.